This was the last piece of evidence left behind by a crew that mysteriously disappeared at sea. And today, you won't just see strange fishing videos. You'll see people on the water being attacked, followed and surrounded by things they never expected to face. From boats chased in the dark, to fishermen dragged into the water, and encounters so disturbing that some people barely escaped alive. But get ready, because as we move forward, each case will become more and more terrifying. Can you make it to the final video without getting scared? If so, let's begin. Number 10. We'll begin with something soft. But even this first clip has a detail that feels strangely unsettling. A group of friends were out on their boat, enjoying what seemed like a peaceful day of fishing. The water was calm, nothing looked dangerous, and for a moment it seemed like just another normal afternoon. But then something started moving toward them, and once it reached the boat, there was almost nowhere left to go. Take a look. At first, these might not look like the most terrifying clip on the list, until you realized how trapped they actually were. The friends were surrounded by a swarm of aggressive bees while they were still on the boat, with no easy way to escape and no safe place to hide. Fighting them off was nearly impossible, and staying on board only made things worse. So they had no choice but to abandon the boat completely. According to the description, they spent the rest of the day swimming back to shore, carefully towing the boat behind them as the swarm kept them from getting back on. And honestly, that's what makes this clip so uncomfortable. Because sometimes, the scariest thing underwater isn't something below you. It's something that gives you nowhere to run. Number 9. At number 9, things are still just beginning. But this clip already feels harder to ignore. This video was reportedly recorded near Lake Van in Turkey during a night fishing trip outside a rural area near Edremit. According to the version that circulated, a fisherman named Mehmet Kaya had gone out alone shortly after midnight to check a small fishing spot near the shore. To light up the area, he placed a few small lights near the water and left his phone recording from a distance, something he apparently did to see if fish came close to the surface. At first, nothing about the scene feels unusual. He is just crouched near the water, seemingly checking something by the shore. But then, the quiet night changes in a way that is difficult to explain. What makes this clip even stranger is the place where it was recorded. Lake Van is not an ordinary lake. It has no natural outlet. Its water is extremely alkaline, and for years, the area has been surrounded by stories about something unknown moving beneath its surface. But Mehmet reportedly never gave a clear explanation of what happened that night. So now the question is, what do you think really happened here? Number 8. If the last video made you uncomfortable, pay close attention, because this one raises the tension even more. A group of fishermen were out on the water during the day when they noticed something moving behind their boat. At first, it looked like they were simply being followed by whales, nothing too unusual for open water. But then, one of those shapes started to stand out from the rest. The strange part is not that whales appeared near the boat. The strange part is that one of them does not seem to match the others. It looks bigger, darker, and harder to identify, almost as if something much larger is moving between them. And because the fishermen are already on the water, far from anything solid, there is not much they can do except keep watching it follow behind them. Maybe it was just perspective. Maybe it was one whale closer to the camera than the rest. But when you compare its size to the others, it's hard not to ask the same question. What exactly was swimming behind that boat? Number 7. At number 7, the atmosphere shifts, and his next clip is the reason why. A fisherman was out on a kayak, alone on the water, trying to enjoy what seemed like a normal fishing trip. At first, everything looked calm. The kayak was steady, the water seemed quiet, and there was no obvious sign that anything dangerous was nearby. But when you are floating just a few inches above the surface, you never really know what is moving underneath you.
Oh, it's a big size. Oh, shit. Oh, hey, bro! Hey, help! Oh, shit! The shark attacking my kayak, bro! Holy shit.
What makes this clip so terrifying is how vulnerable the fisherman was. A kayak gives you almost no protection. No walls, no engine, no real distance from the water. So when something powerful comes from below, there is almost nothing you can do except react. And in this case, the shark did not just pass by. It went straight for the kayak. Maybe it was attracted by the fish. Maybe it mistook the kayak for something else, but the person sitting on top of it, the reason probably did not matter. Because in that moment, he was not fishing anymore. He was trying not to become the bait. Number 6. At this point, the videos stop feeling simply strange and start feeling genuinely unsettling. A Reddit user named Chris Nomad was out fishing on December 12, 2015, when a normal day near the water suddenly turned dangerous. At first, nothing seemed unusual. He was just recording near his fishing spot with no clear sign that anyone else was nearby. But then, something happens so suddenly that he barely has time to react. What makes this clip disturbing is that Chris reportedly came extremely close to being shot. The moment he realized what had happened, he immediately dropped down to protect himself, knowing a bullet had passed dangerously close. To this day, it is unclear who fired the shot or why. Some people believe it could have been another person nearby, possibly someone angry about people fishing in that area, or someone who considered it their own spot. But whatever the reason was, Chris was lucky. Because this was not just a strange sound in the distance. This was a shot that could have been ended the fishing trip in the worst way possible. Number 5. Now we're halfway through, and this next video makes it clear that the worst is still ahead. This clip was reportedly filmed by a fisherman in Brazil while he was moving along the coast of Rio Grande do Sul at night. At first, it looks like he's simply trying to get away from something in the water. The boat is moving fast, the ocean is almost completely dark, and behind him, something keeps appearing just close enough to make the moment feel wrong. But the most unsettling detail is not the speed. It is what you can see every time it gets close. What's behind the boat? What makes this video so disturbing is that almost nothing about the animal can be clearly identified. According to the report, the only thing that stood out in the darkness were its large glowing eyes and a long, narrow body moving through the water at high speed. Some viewers believed it could have been a seal, especially because certain marine mammals can move surprisingly fast, and their eyes can shine at night because of a reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum. But in the middle of the ocean, in complete darkness, with something following your boat from behind, that explanation probably would not make you feel much safer. So, now I want to know, what do you think was really chasing him? Number 4. This video was reportedly recorded in an irrigation canal in Isabel, Puerto Rico. At first, it looks like a simple boat ride through a narrow stretch of water. Nothing about the place seems especially dangerous, and because it is not the open ocean, you would think that people on the boat are completely safe. But what happened next turned the quiet ride into something terrifying. What makes this clip unsettling is not only what the camera captured, but the story attached to the place. According to the version that circulated, someone allegedly died in that same canal, and locals believe that what follows the boat is not an animal, but the ghost of that person still haunting the water. Of course, the video is dark, blurry, and difficult to confirm. But when something appears in a place where people already believe there is a tragedy behind it, the clip becomes much harder to ignore. So now I want to know, do you think this was just something moving in the water, or did that boat pass through the wrong canal at the wrong time? Number 3. If you thought the last video was disturbing, this one makes the situation feel even stranger. This video was reportedly recorded in Indonesia, where a fisherman was out on his boat when something unusual started happening near the water.
Dia makan Pak kita Marlin. Cap, suruh bangun Cap. Cap.
At first, it looks like he's just dealing with his fishing line. Nothing about the scene feels impossible to explain. But then, something moves very close to the boat, and the line reacts in a way that makes the entire clip feel different. What makes this video so strange is that the fisherman does not seem to be reacting to a normal fish. For a moment, something appears extremely close to the boat, and it almost looks as if whatever passed by pulled on his fishing line. The footage is too unclear to say exactly what it was, but that is why the video started getting attention. Some people believed it was just a large fish or another animal moving under the surface, but others think the shape looked far too unusual, almost like a mermaid passing right beside the boat. So now I want to know, what do you think really pulled that line? Number 2. Number 2 may not be the final entry, but it comes dangerously close to being the most disturbing one here. group of fishermen in Indonesia were out at night when one of them seemed to drop something into the water. The boat slowly moved closer to the edge, and one of the men stepped toward the front, apparently trying to reach for whatever had fallen. But the moment he stretches his hand toward the water, everything changes. Watch closely. What makes this clip terrifying is how fast the danger appears. The man barely has time to understand what is happening before a massive snake begins wrapping itself around his body. And once it reaches his neck, the situation becomes much more serious. For a few seconds, his friends seem to laugh, probably thinking he only slipped into the water. But then they realize this is not a normal fall. This is why rivers at night can be so dangerous. You cannot see what is moving under the surface until it's already too close. And after watching this, I think this fisherman will never reach into dark water the same way again. Number 1. Now we've reached the final entry, and this is easily the most disturbing video on the list. The following footage was reportedly recorded on a chartered fishing boat off the coast of South Africa near Cape Town on April 5, 2013. At first, it looks like a normal day on the water. A group of people seem to be enjoying a fishing trip, recording the ocean, the boat, and what appears to be a calm vacation moment. But hours later, that peaceful trip will turn into something no one on board was prepared for. Watch what happens after dark. What makes this case so disturbing is what reportedly happened after the footage ended. The next day, news began spreading about a boat attack off the coast of South Africa, and a search and recovery effort was launched. At first, some people believed the vessel may have been hit by whales, possibly during mating behavior. But according to the version that circulated, the wreckage did not fully support a clear explanation. And the most unsettling part is that the bodies were allegedly never found. That is why the video sparked so many theories online. Some believed it was a tragic accident. Others thought the boat had been struck by something much larger than a whale. And of course, there were those who claimed this was one of the few videos that might show why people fear the most in deep water: a megalodon. So now I want to know, do you think this was just a terrible accident at sea, or did something massive attack that boat in the dark? Level 0. Before this video ends, I want to show you one image, something so strange that it doesn't even fit inside the official ranking. According to the story, it came from the security camera of a fishing boat off the Costa da Morte in Galicia after its crew vanished before sunrise. But when investigators checked the recording system, they found one final frame that made the disappearance even harder to explain. Take a look. Some people believe there is nothing mysterious here and that this could have been a staged Halloween photo that was taken out of context years later. But others have a much darker theory. The Costa da Morte has been linked for years to illegal activity at sea, especially because some of its routes are difficult to monitor. That is why some people believe the man was not part of a Halloween prank. They think he may have belonged to a rival group. The mask would hide his face. The suit would help him avoid leaving evidence. And the chainsaw could have been used to break into hidden compartments, destroy proof, or intimidate the crew. And if that theory is true, then this was not a ghost story. It was something much worse. And if this last clip made you wonder what could really be hiding in the ocean, then you need to watch this next video. Because there are recordings, sightings, and stories from people who believe they came face to face with something that should not exist anymore. So click on the video on screen and watch.